Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again after 2 weeks, joining you with another Iris LinkedIn Live session. And I understand many of you will not watch this session live, but that's okay. We know that you are very, very busy at the moment. And that's why I'm super, super delighted with today's guest that I have here today, because he is very busy himself. So really appreciate him coming on board today. And today's guest is James from Galloways, but rather than me introducing James, I'm going to let James to introduce himself.
Oh, thank you, Eva. Nice to meet everyone. My name's James Jarman. I'm one of the partners here at Galloways. Galloways Accounting has been in operation for about 5 years now. We are a private equity-backed firm with multiple offices in the south of England, and we help a range of clients, from owner-managed businesses right up to large corporates and sole traders and tax return for those individuals as well. So a wide mix. I think we are currently just tipped into the top 50 firms in the UK in terms of size and revenue. So yeah, quite an accomplishment. Things are busy, as I'm sure they are for everyone at the moment.
Very good. Thank you, James. Thank you for coming on board. It was an achievement. So that's why I'm very delighted to have you here with us today, because I think accountants out there who will be tuning in even after the live session, it will be interesting for them to hear, your opinion, your view on the industry, and specifically on the busy season, because as we said, we know we are in the midst of it. Anybody who is watching us live, if you put in the comments how far you are in terms of your workload, are you 50%, 80%, are you all done? It'll be interesting to see where each of you are and how far have you got to go. And I have to ask the same question of James. So overall, Galloways, where are you guys in terms of your workload for the tax returns? How far you got?
Well, I think it obviously depends and differs sort of portfolio to portfolio, but I think by and large it's somewhere between sort of 70 and 80%, which is quite good.
That is very, very good indeed. I'm sure all hands are on deck are really there at the moment. So you said you have multiple offices, multiple sites. Now, when you look at the busy season and somebody who is kind of looking after technology aspect as well, what is your secret, or what is the key for you to say, okay, we're going to master this busy season, we're going to get through it? What were the things that you maybe implemented? What are the ingredients that you added into the recipe that kind of makes you to finish on time, on point?
I think since I joined, and probably like most accounting practices, you always go, next year is going to be better. And you hope and pray that it will be, but the true fact of the matter is, unless you kind of make those changes now, things won't get better and won't improve. There's been lots of things as a firm we have done to help our staff get greater visibility over the work that's done, implement systems and processes to make sure that when we onboard new clients that they're in the system so they don't get missed, making sure that checklists go out on time, making sure that we follow up on those, chase it. Using technology for that is crucial. Making use of the practice management feature in Iris is a vitally important part of that, and adding job stages to make sure that things are being progressed and checked upon, and we're getting the information in a timely manner. Of course, it relies upon our clients providing us that information. So we have a lot of work to do, but equally they have some work to do as well. But kind of the best thing that we found is looking after our staff and making sure that they've got everything they need at their disposal, because technology is great, but ultimately it's making staff available to be able to phone clients, have those conversations, go, for the last 3 years, your tax return, we're not getting the information till sort of end of January, and immediately getting your return in late, but how about this year we have a coffee and we go through kind of what is kind of stopping you getting that information in earlier, and having those conversations sooner, and that actually getting that information in better, because if we can do that, we can have more time to
Yeah,
give proper advice and more proactive advice as well.
absolutely. So how do you, or what do you do to try to release your staff that they have more time to do this? They have more time maybe to think about it, advisory. What tools you're using, or what is helping you to kind of get that bit of headspace to your staff?
I think with any of these sort of how do we make more resource with our existing pool, is trying to find ways to make us more efficient, to
Mm-hmm.
take off the plate of our staff. And it's the age old, the usual day-to-day emails and timesheets and just the general droll of working in an accountancy practice can fill up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But making use of technology, making sure that we have our finance function in, we have an outsourcing department that looks after the day-to-day transactional
Mm-hmm.
work for our clients, getting management information done, and therefore that kind of, those clients are great because right after their year end, all of that information is available. We've got dividends, we've got their payroll information. There
Yeah.
might be additional few bits we need to collate for those clients, but it's going to be few and far between. So those we focus on first. Then we move on to the kind of more difficult or complex ones and try and get the
Mm-hmm.
information in. And again, making sure that we're making use of available technology to do that is crucial.
Mm-hmm. And aside from technology, you said, technology is helping you to be more efficient. How important is the process itself? You say you have multiple sites, so I assume you have people coming from different, cultures, types of firms, setups. So how do you make sure that that process is fitting within that technology that you adopt?
I think any businesses that are growing and sort of buying other practices and putting them into their firm kind of come across the same issues that perhaps we have.
Mm-hmm.
You have got different geographical locations, different types of client, different types
Yeah.
of staff, different types of software being used in those offices, and you're kind of forced to align things quite quickly. Um, it's one of those, you have to move quickly, but you also have to do it with a measured approach.
Mm-hmm.
Each time we've bought a practice, we've learned a little bit more, but it's kind of taking the best parts of a business, not completely going, right, this is the right way to do it because this is the way we're doing it. It's kind of listening to them, understanding what it is that they've got in place, processes, systems, technology,
Mm-hmm.
and going, right, okay, well, actually that part is really good, so let's try and bring that in. And it's precisely what we've done with our onboarding. It's precisely what we've done with our company secretarial software.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these things have meant that we've saved huge amounts of time, certain circumstances, huge amounts of money as well. Um, so yes, it requires time retraining staff on new
Mm-hmm.
systems, but ultimately the efficiencies gained of everyone working in the same way means that you can share resource a lot easier as well.
So you are able to share resources between different locations, for example,
Correct.
due to technology and due to staff training. And how is the maybe newly acquired team, that when you acquire a new practice, how are they taking that transition? How is that? What is the feeling? How is their onboarding?
I think because we've done it so much, we've got a kind of track record, which is really nice
Mhm.
because we've got people that have gone through that, and everyone feels nervous for accountants. We don't love change all the time,
Yes.
but being able to sit someone that did this a year ago with someone that's looking at doing this now and going, talk us through your experience.
Mhm.
It's a positive experience and has been for every business that we've bought. So certainly having those people kind of talk them through it is really helpful because the team gets on board a lot quicker when they know sort of how good that process is.
I mean, they're speaking probably to their peers as well, so they know it can be a positive experience. Now, going back to the busy period, busy season, and I can see you are at the office, which is probably very busy office this time of the year. We talk about technology and efficiencies and all the, you can say, all of the buzzwords, right, that are surrounded around technology. But, and as we discussed before, in the center, in the heart of it, are the actual people that are doing the work, right? So how do you make sure that, yeah, the probably stress levels are going to be higher, right? There is no help. It's just the time of the year. But how do you ensure that they feel reasonably happy within even what is stressful environment? Do they have any special coping mechanism in your teams? What is kind of what is your thing you do with the staff to make them feel like, yes, we can get through this?
I mean, you can never underestimate the power of caffeine and chocolate in our tax teams. They do so well and thrive during that period. And
Mhm.
it is really very much about looking after the staff, because, and again, many firms will probably kind of feel the same way with this. But when COVID hit, and you've got tax team members kind of having to homeschool, work from home,
Mhm.
have the stresses of day-to-day life and all the issues that came with what COVID was offering, all of the different grant funding and all of the questions that came with that, and then on top of all of that, do their day job of doing tax returns. It almost broke a few people, not here
Mhm.
in Galloways, but as a firm, I moved in right at the point where that was all happening, and you could see the difference in how us as a firm treated our staff versus
Mhm.
firms I'd worked in previously. There was a lot of care, a lot of time, a lot of attention, making sure we're checking in with our staff, spending a bit of time with them. Are you okay? Do you need any more support?
Mhm.
What can I get you? If they need support, locating it, perhaps even from other offices. Um, are they efficient in terms of, or are they subsequently remunerated with caffeine and chocolate?
Mhm.
Have they got the sugary hits that they need to get through the day? Um, and just making sure really that they're well looked after and feel that they can come to you if there's any area of concern they've got in terms of the workloads, not getting stuff done. 'Cause it can keep people up. This is synonymous in our industry. January is always a horrible
Yeah.
month, but the reality is, it's the same for everyone, and actually we've just got to kind of find a way that we can work through it together as a team.
Yeah.
It's not down to one individual and their one list of tax returns. This is a team game. The firm lives or dies by our tax team, so we definitely need to find ways to support them in the best way possible.
Very good. Yeah. Then, and we do care. We never want to miss a deadline, right? So that's kind of instilled in us. So we do want to do what we can to fulfill the requirements. But on the other side, some clients are not really helping it, right? No matter how many times you ask for the information, I can attest my personal experience, even at 21st of January, you are going to have clients who still are yet to give you the information for you to be able to produce the tax return. What's your approach? How do you deal with those clients? How much do you let your clients to dictate that deadline versus how much you are able to impose your internal deadline to prevent, this super busy season?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. It's something that all accountants struggle with, because we're designed to want to help people. We're designed to want to get work done. We're designed to, make our clients happy and feel that they get the result that they want. But you're quite right. Not every client works in line with our rule book, and some of them
Mhm.
are a bit lazy and do procrastinate. But we need to be having conversations with those people as soon as possible to just outline expectation. we, for example, have a quite a clear defined line with our clients that if they don't provide the information for their tax return by the 31st of October, then there is no guarantee that that'll be done and filed before the end of January. And we will obviously support them and help them by suggesting that they perhaps make a tax payment in order to avoid any unnecessary interest. But we do make it quite clear that when they send their information, we appreciate they sent it, but it's later than we would appreciate. And therefore, there will probably be a penalty because it's unlikely to get done before the month end. We of course do all that we can to support our clients, and if there's 5 minutes in the day and we've got 5 minutes to do a return, that will be done. But what we're not going to do is completely break our team by going, you need to stay late every night, you need to work weekends every weekend in order to get that done. If clients are not being and not working with us and getting their information to us sooner rather than later. And then what happens is next year, because you've had that difficult conversation this year, next year they go, right, what can I do to avoid that penalty again this year? And then it gets them into better habits. But again, nothing, you have to be sensible with these things. You have to be reasonable with both your staff and your clients, and you can't expect your staff to kind of bear the burden of bad clients.
That's very, very nice to hear, James, from somebody like you who is partner in such a big firm. Did you manage to, how would I ask politely this question, did you manage to change the naughty behavior of some clients and made them from bad clients, turn them into good clients?
Yeah, I mean, probably the term bad clients was misspoke, but all our clients, certainly all of my clients on my list, they're brilliant. They're really, really good. But I'm possibly the world's worst at it in myself with other things. I put off the boiler service to the last minute or the car service to the last minute. We're all like it. We'll have that tendencies at times to put off the things that kind of we don't want to deal with because it's a waste of our time or a perceived waste of our time. The fact is we just need to understand and communicate with our clients better. We need to understand what it is that's providing that mental block to them as to getting that information out sooner, and there's creates opportunity for us to have a conversation with them, perhaps around what we can do to support them, whether it's we get involved in help collating that information, obviously for an extra fee, but if they want to avoid that, then we can talk them through and help them with the steps that they need to take. I think, it's always a challenge, but certainly I have clients that used to get information in the last knockings of December, but are now getting it to me in May time because they realise that actually if we do it earlier, then potentially that reduces their payments on account in July. And actually if we do that earlier, we can have a look at how much cash is left in the bank to make investments for the business and generate more revenues that way. And do we look into paying into pension schemes? Well, sooner we get the information, the sooner we do return, sooner we can see what savings there are available, going forward. So everything is better when you do it sooner, and making that kind of clear and showing where the value is in getting that information in sooner to our clients, that is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should correct you, there are no bad clients. It's just what we let them, if we let them away to kind of portray wrong behavior, not even bad behavior. We need to teach them good habits. So absolutely, that's I would echo that. Now, again, you have multiple locations, so I think very complex operations, often reporting and so on from your side. How do you gather the client information, the data? Do you have any still like boxes of receipts coming into your offices, or how do you have it streamlined? How does it work?
Yes, everything in between, sort of nice, presented, cloud accounting software where either they prepare the return, the information, do all their books and records, provide it to us sort of, early into April, going, this is all done, cleaned,
Mm-hmm.
reconciled, that's filed, this is all ready to go, right through to your kind of your one-man band, perhaps window cleaner that brings a nice bucket of receipts.
Mm-hmm.
For you to kind of flick through, and some of it's in this tax year and some of it's not.
Yeah.
So again, whatever the client is, you need to take an approach for that kind of client. Segment those clients. What
Mm-hmm.
are the nice ones? What are the easy ones? What can we get done straight away? What are going to be the more difficult ones that we need to spend a bit more time on? And kind of what can we do to make that process easier? For example, when you've got a bundle of receipts and you've got a bit of time where your
Yeah.
staff are perhaps in a bit of a lull and you've got some additional resource at junior capacity, those are the times to utilise those staff and
Mm-hmm.
make sure all those receipts are being scanned in and chucked into softwares like Dext, where you
Mm-hmm.
can extrapolate that information quickly. Also, if they're providing bank statements, can we scan those in, get all the information off, put it into a CSV?
Mm-hmm.
Technology can be key in helping make that process
Cool.
easier and faster and more accurate, which is crucial. But I would also argue, if that one-man band's bringing in a bucket, are we pricing that job correctly? Because it might be that they only have sort of 50 grand of income a year, but that is going to take twice the time that it's going to take someone that's perhaps a multi-million pound business that's husband and
Mm-hmm.
they take simple dividends and salary. So we need to make sure when we're looking at our clients and segmenting them that we are charging them fees relevant to the work that we put in,
Mm-hmm.
and that they're aware of that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the the added benefit is, look, we can help you improve your own internal systems and processes, to make that better for you, to make that better for us, and reduce our fees.
Mm-hmm.
uh, for a small investment now, we can
Yeah.
make sure that you're paying lower fees going forward. So yeah, there's lots you can do, but spend more time with your clients is always
Mm-hmm.
the answer.
So when we're talking about being ready, you know after April, giving you the information I said in May, June. Uh, how do you think the upcoming MTD is going to make this easier, or is it going to make things more complicated?
I think there's a lot of concern surrounding the MTD and what it means
Mhm.
for everyone. You have your 4 quarterly returns, your final return for the business, and final submission.
Mhm.
So potentially 6 returns a year, which is not a small amount. But now is the time to be utilizing technology and making sure
Mhm.
that those kind of clients that do like a bag of receipts, they are understanding what's coming in play, understanding the fee impact it's going to have if they are delivering a bag of receipts, and
Mhm.
what we can do now to support them. Because I imagine they're not going to be very happy if they continue doing what they've always done. We've not made them aware fully of those
Mhm.
changes and what it actually means to them. And then ultimately, we give them a big old bill at the end of it for what they seem as no change in service or no extra value added
Mhm.
in that service. So it is really on us to have those communications with our clients now.
How you mentioned client segmentation a few times. How important is this choice of software that enables you to do the segmentation, or are you just doing this on the spreadsheets? What kind of insights are you using to segment the clients?
We all love a spreadsheet as accountants. I think that's
We do.
fair to say. And I think whenever we use software, what we end up doing is extrapolating that information into a spreadsheet and segmenting it that way. Um, I don't think it matters necessarily in what you do, as long as you're
Mhm.
doing it, as long as you are identifying what metrics are that you are going to use to segment your clients, whether
Mhm.
you're just looking at it from a what did we spend in staff costs on those jobs last year, and
Mhm.
therefore do they collate to the size of the business, and therefore if they don't, then what are we doing to help those clients that have smaller businesses but bigger fees due to bigger staff costs? What are we doing now to help them improve their systems and processes so that going forward they are prepared for the coming changes?
Okay. So we are 21st of January. What is your team? What are your teams going to do on the 3rd of February?
Well, currently we actually have we have a team drinks booked
Oh,
in our office, which is happening at 5 o'clock, which is a bit ambitious, I thought, to get those kind of late returns out. But
this is
um,
on the 31st of
on the
January.
31st of January, yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, it's ambitious, but it's a Friday, and I think whatever you get done or don't get done at that point, it's not going to be through. We've had that information for 6 months and
Mhm.
we've still not got it done. It'll be tax returns where we've received it late. And actually, I think it's positive to have something booked in for our staff so that we draw a
Mhm.
line in the sand on that day, because the stress is going to be quite a lot in that team. It's going to be quite a lot with
Mhm.
from trainees right up to the managers and
Yeah.
partners. So I think it's really important that we have a culture that recognizes that,
Mhm.
appreciates the work that they've done, and rewards our staff for that hard work that they've been putting in.
Okay. So it's something for them to look forward to. Would you have many people taking off then first couple of weeks in February, or are you straight to audits? You don't really have time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a mixed role partner, so I don't just I'm not just busy for 1 month of the year or 2 months of the year. It's sort of
Mhm.
busy throughout. So for me, it's move on to the next thing. And for many of the tax team, they will take some time off early in February because they deserve it.
Mhm. Yeah.
They are doing exceptional amount of work, and to spend a bit more time with the family, especially with the half term in February. Too right, that's what they deserve to do. But yeah, it kind of it varies team to team and
Yeah.
person to person. But ultimately, it's good to be busy. Keeps us all out of trouble.
Yeah, rolls on, and I think often many people forget that tax season or 31st of January is just one of many other deadlines that we have as professionals. So that is kind of like on the top of your normal work, where people would be joking, accountants going on skiing holidays and stuff in February, but the reality is a lot of them are still going to be catching up, probably with the unpicked work from January. I think I could talk to you for another half an hour at least, James, but we kind of are heading towards the end of our session. My last question, and mindful, this is 21st of January, so the firms out there, they're not going to be able to do any significant changes to make a difference in this year. But if I'm a accountant, watching this maybe on demand, what would be the few top tips you can give to practitioner, whether it's smaller or bigger firm? What would it be?
I think first and foremost, you're not alone. As an industry, this is always going to be a stressful time of the
Mhm.
year. You guys all work incredibly hard, and I'm sure the firms that you work for, the partners in those firms, the owners, whoever it is, they really do appreciate what effort you put in. So if you've got 10 returns on your list, or you got 110 returns on your list to do, try not to panic. Um, but do be mindful of the change that you want to make next year.
Mhm.
What is it, if you are stressed and you're feeling under the cosh, what changes can you make next year? Now, you might feel that you're resource constrained, that you haven't got enough people in your team.
Mhm.
You might feel that you haven't got the right technology. Whatever it is, make a wish list, make a plan, discuss it with those in the firm, whether it's the partners, whether it's your technology managers, whoever it is. Discuss what your wish list is and why you want it, and what improvements that will make to your systems going forward, and tackle it as soon as possible. continue to communicate with your clients, improve behaviors, improve their systems and processes to make your life easier. And don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations with clients, pointing out exactly what that will be in the future if they fail to make those changes, that there will be more fees, that there will be more work, that there may be more penalties because they will continue to be late. Just have those conversations as soon as possible. And I think if your teams are struggling around you, look after each other. It's just checking in with the person to your left, the person to your right. If they're working from home, just having a quick Teams call with them. 15 minutes isn't going to make a huge difference in the amount of returns that you can get done, but it will have a huge impact on the well-being of those individuals.
True. Thank you so much. Very, very wise words from you, James. Thank you. Thank you for doing this session with me. Wishing you and your team in Galloways all the very best and good and early finish on the 31st. Thank you to our audience for watching. I'm sure you found James's insight really interesting, and hopefully we can all take something from them into the next year. Well, this is our last session for the busy season, but we will be back in February where we're going to start to reflect on things, as James mentioned, and see how we can do things differently next year. For now, good luck to everyone. Take care of each other and stay safe. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.